Okay, hey Kyle. Okay, so in terms of your question of what's happening into this position or P6 where the club's parallel to the ground, it has a lot to do with, obviously you understand how we wind up, how we level out, and then how things work in terms of the arms into impact. But what's causing my shoulders or my body to square back up at impact isn't my body turning. However, my body is turning. But what makes my body turn is the fact that my arms are straightening. So my body winds up, then my arms fire back in front, which squares up my shoulders. So it kind of looks like this. My arms are turned, my shoulders are turned, then by straightening my arms, my shoulders come back to square. But notice I'm not turning anything with my body in transition. All I'm doing is I've wound this up so that I can propel the arms back down in front. And that's what got my body back to square. So this right wrist, this right elbow, throughout the backswing, there's not a whole lot going on in the right wrist. Then the right elbow starts to fold, the right wrist will start to fold a little bit up to the top. So this, let's say this right elbow goes from whatever this angle is to 90 degrees up here, and the wrists get loaded naturally up to the top. Then shift my weight. Then from there, the arms are trying to jump back in front of the body. So what happens is the right elbow starts to straighten, and then the right wrist fires at the bottom. So the right elbow straightens to square me back up, then the right wrist follows. So it's right elbow, right wrist. So I'm loading, loading, unloading, unloading. So load the right elbow, right wrist, unload the right elbow, right wrist. So it's like that. And that's what gets me squared up at impact. So it makes sense that you're feeling like your back's to the target if you're spinning out. Because what happens is if the hips spin out, the club gets behind and then has to get thrown, versus wind it up properly, get the arms going, and let the body support the arms. Now, looking at your swings, mechanically, yeah, I'd like to see you probably turn a little better up to the top. It looks like things are a little short up here. Big wind up, and then get the arms going so that they can jump back in front of your body. It looks a little bit short up here to me, and then your hips start firing from the top of the backswing. And so it causes you to be late here, but then you throw your arms at it late and it kind of kicks you out of balance. I'd suggest feeling centered, but a big turn, and then feel like the arms are what bring the club back down in front. It's like I got to get my arms to return to center at impact so that everything can turn together through impact. You look a little bit, when you're standing over it, you look like you have a lot of thoughts in your head. So you're, pretty rigid looking, pretty thought provoked over the ball. I'd like to see you look just athletic, just centered, just balanced. Because in terms of your preparation for this next tournament, we've got to get to where you're shooting a certain score to qualify. Okay, let's say it's 75 or 74 or whatever it ends up being. Okay, that's easy enough to do. But where you're at currently is a little bit mechanical, a little bit frustrated looking, a little bit golf swing oriented, position oriented. That stuff is great, and we'll always be working on stuff, but when it's time to get ready for a game, a lot of that stuff has to go out the window. So for instance, when I'm playing golf, I can't have little thoughts in my golf swing. I've got to have big thoughts. So what that means is one thought to play with would be centered. Just centered and swing. And just trying to feel your body stay centered while you swing the club. So that's one thought to play with. Just nothing profound, just am I athletic? Am I centered? Do I feel balanced? And then turn, fire, turn. Really simple thoughts. Or I'm centered with quiet hands. So my hands are gonna feel like their only role is just to hold the club. Quiet hands. And swing. Because what we want is your arc to be really consistent, your arc to be really simple, and your body and arms to kind of just sequence together. And if we can get that, then we're under control. All these other little thoughts are fun to work on, but I think when it comes time to play, you can't have 4 swing thoughts. So let's make it 1. And now those are my thoughts. So centered is a good one for me. Quiet hands is a good one for me. But I encourage you this week to hit golf balls not from the perspective of your golf swing, but just hit golf balls to get the feel of being centered, get the feel of being balanced. Just hit some balls. Just kind of see what you got. Try to get to where you're hitting the ball good versus working on your swing, hoping that the swing comes around and then good shots come. Just work on hitting shots, hitting balls, because we need to get your mind not so fixated on the golf swing. We need your mind fixated on scoring, chipping in, making putts, hitting golf shots. It can't be in the mechanical realm when you're getting ready to play. So this week, let's find some thoughts for you that simplify everything, whether it's being centered or quieting the hands or just some sort of free-flowing big swing thought, just 1, maybe 2, but just simple. Then let's find a shot that can kind of be consistent. So simple thoughts, consistent golf shot, and then whatever that ends up being for you, we got to build momentum on that, because we've got to get your thoughts out of your mechanics and start to get those mechanical thoughts simplified, so that your attention can shift toward playing with energy and hitting golf shots and holing putts and holing chips. So the progression typically would be, let's work on your mechanics per se this week. Find some thoughts that give you confidence. Find some simple feels, some simple shots. If it's going too high, that's fine. If you're able to flight it, that's good too. But just really simplify your mechanics this week. Then we'll hit a lot of balls next week, feeling like you're building confidence every day and toward what you're doing. And then I'm going to suggest next week, while you're hitting balls, to also play 9 holes as much as you can. And then the final week leading up to the tournament, we should be well out of mechanics by then, and at that point in time, it should be more about playing and all of your feels on the golf course, determining what you're working on. Because when you're playing a lot, you know where your game is based on where it is when you're playing. So everything should be geared to where your game is when you're playing, not where your swing is right now. Okay, so simple thoughts this week. Let's knock those out, get you feeling like you can build confidence from where you're at. Then we'll keep building on that, hitting some balls, playing 9 holes a day, getting your feels on the course. And then the final week leading up to the tournament should be play, 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 no mechanics at all. Just centered, balanced, quiet hands, whatever your thoughts end up being, but we've got to get out of mechanics leading into a tournament. Okay, let me know your thoughts on this. I know it's not super mechanical, but at this point in time, we're gearing up for something. So everything we've got to do is got to build toward that event and then on to the tournament in June. So thanks again.